to RELaunch Live Podcast. RELaunch Live Podcast. Talking all things real estate, the strategies that build it, and sharing their own life-changing growth plans. They are two of the most dynamic people in the business with one common goal: to make you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Welcome to the RELaunch Live Podcast with your hosts, Veronica Figueroa and Jeff Lobb.
All right, here we are, another episode, RELaunch Live Podcast. Think, reimagine, and be re-inspired. And I'm so excited to see our co-host Veronica with us today. So happy to see you again.
Nashville edition. Look, I'm rocking the Nashville edition. Oh, I'm extremely excited to be here today. And this one's probably going to get me a little emotional. She's someone that I absolutely love. I've known for many, many years, probably about 12, right around 11, 12 years. And it's really awesome, Jeff, that you get to experience her now. And, everyone watching and gets to, chime in wherever they're watching us at. Yeah. And I will say that this episode is probably going to talk a little bit about culture. It's going to talk a little bit about marketing and how marketing has evolved. But, this is probably one of the most heart-centered leaders I've had the privilege of, not only working with, but learning from. So I don't want to delay too much. I want to get right into it. I want to welcome I don't even know what her position is on my team. She's like the heart, the chief executive heart officer. I don't even know what her role is anymore because they run the show. But, just to me, probably, like I said, one of the best leaders I've ever met, who's super, super heart-centered. The one and only Jenny Berger. Love you, babe. Welcome.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you for that nice, warm welcome. It's an honor to be here, guys.
Well, Jenny's been someone, Jeff, that if you know me, you probably see that we're really passionate about like marketing and being different. And I think one of the things that really helped us evolve over the years was showing up as our authentic self. So like when I get the pleasure of working with her, I get the pleasure of working with her. She's like deeper than just the surface level of like, what color scheme do you want? What do you want the world to see you as? And, when people are trying to discover who they are as a brand or as a leader, I think there's some blockage, right? There's oftentimes that limited mindset or, I don't want people to think this of me. I will say Jenny helped me do some real deep work when we did an exercise back in 2014. I remember we were in the cabins in North Carolina. I had hit rock bottom. One of my rock bottoms, I will say. I was kind of in this crossroad where I was like, I'm done with this, the rat race. I had this vision. And she said to me, what do you want? What do you want to be known for? What do you want? What's the legacy? What do you want this business to look like? This team to look like? Your brokerage to look like? And like, we just peeled the layers back. And here I'm like, aren't you just supposed to do graphics and make me look pretty? But she actually was like, we can make this all look pretty on the outside, but if you don't know what you represent and who you truly are in your brand, it's just so disingenuous. And we got really clear, and she made me do an exercise, which was really cool. I remember, I think I still have that notebook. I was like, I want to do this. I want to be on stage. I want to impact people's lives. I want to, be able to, work with people like this and that. And she was like, all right, let's write it down. Let's dig a little deeper. And 6 months later, we went back to that journal, or 9 months later, we went back to that journal, and I had my first real big moment to stand on stage for in front of 2,600 people. And she's like, this is everything we designed that day when we talked about who you are as a brand. So Jenny, I just felt like they needed to know the deep work that you've done with me. And when we talk to people, we get a little deeper because we walked the walk together and reimagined this and made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot. But I think this is true to what we were discovering as we were navigating through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is one of my superpowers, right? I really do practice this lifestyle of gratitude and being in alignment, whatever that means at the moment, it's just being in alignment. There's no right or wrong, right? But just I knew she wasn't aligned at that moment, and we've been best friends now for a dozen years, which is crazy. And so we've seen so many iterations and versions of ourselves. But it makes me really happy to see her at her fullest expression. My life partner, Rich, my family, my friends. I think it's just that's what life is about, right? What are we building these great businesses for if we are not feeling fulfilled? And that always leads back to the culture and the norms that we're creating for everybody who partakes in our organization. So it's an honor, Veronica, to be, part of that story. I think that was such an important piece that really moved you into that next level, Veronica, that everybody knew you had it in you. And Jeff, when she said, I don't want to be micro local anymore, and it's like, okay, you're telling me what you don't want. What do you want? Well, I want to impact people's lives. I want to be on stages. Okay, great. Let's go. She started firing it out, and we burned some things in that fire pit on that New Year's Eve. And, this is the Veronica that you know now because of all those little moments. So it's awesome. Thank you for letting me be part of that.
That's such a magical superpower. And I like you called it a superpower because it is. People box, I'm a marketing person. I'm this is so much deeper than marketing. And I really love to just kind of, impromptu kind of maybe just help us, maybe for the listening audience. If I was someone that was trying to find myself a little bit, or maybe dig a little deeper, maybe help us with a partial exercise. Like, what are some of the things you would ask of me? Like, how would you get into that conversation? If there are people right now that are probably trying to re-inspire themselves to go be somebody else or be what they really want to be. Can you do a little mini exercise with me and walk us through a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I can use one of our dearest friends, Lorena. She is a former attorney, right? And I had a conversation. She's still an attorney, but I had a conversation with her. Veronica, I don't know if you know this, and we'll talk about it one day in a podcast with her. But we had this conversation 2 years ago, and she's this attorney who couldn't even take any more cases. That's how busy she was. And I had a breakthrough session with her where she's like, I need a rebrand. I need a rebrand is like short term for I don't even know what I want to do yet, but I know I want to do something else, right? And what does that version look like? And she said, being an attorney makes me feel empty. I'm taking from people to win, and it's not in alignment with me anymore. Again, that is the theme of this call, right? Alignment. She's like, I'm not in alignment. It's profitable. Okay, I got the degree. Okay, I have the practice that's booming, but I don't feel good. And I want to, okay, so that's good. Thank you for, not honoring that. How do you see yourself impacting these people's lives? I want to help women. I want to do this. I want to do that. Right. So she started just getting really in tune with the things that she did want to bring into this new brand. And we're seeing this brand being born now, right, Veronica? And it's beautiful. She impacts women on a deeper level. It's more than helping them legally.
Yeah. And I think what's really cool about her is that, you talked to her a few years ago, but it sometimes does take time for you to be ready, right? For you to feel like you're just ready to have that breakthrough. So a lot of times we beat ourselves up, say, well, I think I know what I want, but now how do I take action on it? Sometimes you got to sit in it for a minute. And I think Lorena sat in it. She had to go through some motions. She had to, shut the practice down and do some things. And now she's finally walking in that. And it's like, wow, where have you been? It lives within you. You just have to be ready to just Jeff, we talked about the term you use with me, unbox it, let it come to life, right? Yeah. So I honor her, and I am so grateful that you were able to do that, and help her. And just even what you said is okay, so what does that look like, And here, what Jenny has done with us was when people do the whole vision board, or they really she goes deeper of what does it feel like? What does it smell like? What is it, who are the people around you? What is it? Describe it. Yeah. And I know for me, I remember saying to her, I don't want to be in I don't want to feel like I'm in the rat race. I don't want to be in competition with people. Right. I don't want to be known as a shark anymore. I want people to really know me. I literally was the one that was known to intimidate people. I was like, they don't know me. I want them to get to know me. Like real estate doesn't allow people to see me, because I was so cutthroat. It was like, I'm gonna beat you in that list. And it was just something I had to go through. And she's like, well, what does that look like? I was like, I don't know yet what that looks like. And it took years for me to find it. And there was something that she said, like the empty part, like I was a broker. I felt empty. I was like, I don't like being a broker. She was like, well, then if you don't like being a broker, why are you the broker? And I was like, because that's what society tells us here. You're an agent, you're a top producer, you're going to become a broker. And she was like, well, does that make you happy? I was like, no, I hate it. It's the one part of my job that I hate the most. She was like, so what are we going to do to stop you from being the broker? I was like, she says, and if you weren't the broker, what would you do? Oh my God, I would develop agents. I would do this and I would do that. And then she saw me light up and she was like, then let's recreate that. Let's rewrite that. Let's rewrite your future by doing the things that you absolutely love and light your soul on fire.
Yeah, so, I can see when someone lights up. It's just, you can't unsee it. Go ahead, Jeff.
How do you, I can see where that fear kicks in. Like when you finally get to somebody to see where they want to be. Like I love when you say, just, stop telling me what you don't want to be. Tell me what you want to be. They light that up. But then I could see like that attorney scenario. Like there's that fear of like, well, I may have to lose revenue or shut down my practice or shift gears. And how do I handle that loss to get to where I want to go? So there's that like roadblock. So sometimes, it's a hard transition to get people past or over that, but somehow magically you're doing it.
I agree. And the thing about a person like Lorena Ramos or Veronica Figueroa is that they have already done a certain amount of soul level like work and internal work that they have already done where they're so abundant, Jeff. Like they don't see, there's no blockages. There's just what's my next step, right? What does this look like? So one of my other superpowers is that I'm truly a graphic designer by nature. So I mock up their visions. What people don't know is that when Veronica is dreaming something, I mock it up into the real world where she's like, that's it, or that's not it, right? And how do we reshuffle things? And that has also been a beautiful part of co-creating with her is that I kind of mock up in a digital space what that reality could be. And it's been really cool working together. I mean, we can't, deny that. And I'll give you a little bit more. I know since today we want to talk about culture, I'll give you a little bit of background, Jeff, of where I really became passionate about culture. I used to work for Southwest Airlines when I was 21 years old. And, Southwest Airlines does this beautiful job of, as you know, and everyone who's flown on Southwest, they give you the least amount of amenities and people love flying on them, right? They're reliable. They're just on time. They're fun. People are singing their hearts out at the gates. Yeah. They're just encourage people to be who they want to be. And, within this professionalism, world of professionalism and being on time. And the first thing that they did when they hired me was send me off to Dallas, Texas, right? And this was still while Herb Kelleher was there, and which was the original founder. And it was so cool. He's just coming around the headquarters, and they're basically telling you unlearn everything you have ever learned anywhere because you're going to learn the Southwest way. And that's a powerful thing to do when you have an organization. It's like, okay, yeah, you've worked at a ton of brokerages. This is how we're going to roll, right? This is how we're going to do things. We're going to have this little moment to unlearn because we have been institutionalized in certain ways. But this is how we're going to do things from now on if you partake in this organization. And that's where my passion for that came from. I was a culture committee president in LaGuardia and LAX. I used to work at LAX and then New York. Okay. So I opened up LaGuardia, which was an amazing opportunity. And that's kind of where that stuck with. I've always done the marketing. I always ended up doing the graphics and on the creative side of things because it was just like my natural ability. And then when I met Veronica when I was ready to move to Orlando. And one of our biggest mentors, Rosie Rodriguez, shout out to Rosie. She said, hey, if you want to move to Florida, I have the perfect contact for you. She's a real estate broker. She can help you. You have to meet her. She's awesome. So she was my mentor from California, introducing me to my new best friend in Florida. And we met and hit it off. And we had that culture conversation on the first day. Yes, Veronica. And you were like, I need you to work for me. Like, I don't know what that looks like yet, but when you moved here, like, we have to work together at some capacity. So we've always worked together. And then during that time, Jeff, I transitioned and I worked for Curator. I don't know if you're familiar with Curator, real estate marketing platform, right? And that was an awesome opportunity. I had to dive deep into digital strategy. Veronica connected me with Chris Smith and Jimmy, and it was amazing. And I got to learn so much about the digital world of marketing.
Right.
And and that was wonderful. But I know that one cannot exist without the real world connection. When I had clients, 25 clients around the nation, and they would question ROI, it was like, what are you doing, right? What are you doing in real life? Because on digital, this is not going to work unless we pair with real life experiences that you're building for your community, for your team, and just all around good feeling for your organization. I would use Veronica as my reference point, right? Because I had already worked at her. So she was out there 4th of July and, shaking hands and kissing babies in this heat, in this Florida heat for the whole day, doing events. And I'm like, are you doing these things? No, I'm just expecting you to create these miracles and bring me these leads online. Why are you asking me what I'm doing locally? That was kind of like the pushback that I got. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think we're a good fit because you're not doing the real life things that are going to reflect in your digital marketing. When you're doing that, we can talk because now we have real content. It's not just content marketing. I call it culture marketing. So that's how I arrived at this new version of what I call culture marketing, which is we create, Veronica, today it's actually really cool. Today's my 1-year anniversary back.
Celebrate that.
Yes.
That's why this episode means so much, right?
Yeah, perfect timing. I walked into flowers at the office and the girls were just so sweet. But in a year we got to do so much together, Jeff, with Eric as the true visionary of his role here with Veronica too. We got to refresh our brand and we got to really get intentional with what our culture felt like, what in-person meetings felt like. Were they high energy? Veronica cast this vision and then we go behind her like, I think this is what she means. I think, we're picking up all the pieces because she's throwing concepts out, right? She's a true visionary. She needs those integrators behind her. Yep. And we really made sure that we corrected some things so that the culture was just genuine, that we were not a fraud by marketing a culture that didn't exist, that it was genuine, that we were taking care of our people, and that when we create events, we're capturing, that's the gist of culture marketing. We're a media company.
So the nuggets, and I'm trying to even just keep them in my brain. So I want to repeat a few words because there's a few things that culture marketing, number one, that resonates. Making sure, like, rethinking how things feel. To me, that's huge because that's something I believe in strongly. Like, if you're going to have a meeting, what should it feel like when they're done? If you're going to run an event, what should they feel like when they walk out the door and when they're present? What they feel is really huge. And one of my favorites is unlearn. I had the pleasure, like 3 weeks ago, speaking with, I don't know if you guys know Scott Stratton. He's a big keynote speaker around the country on marketing and unbranding and on everything. And his tattoo, I believe, on his forearm is unlearn. And he's all about the unlearning process. Like, stop doing what you thought was always the way. Unlearn that. So to me, that's a huge, huge takeaway. Unlearn.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to absorb it all in without taking notes. This is inspiring.
I knew you were going to love her, Jeff.
So,
and I
I was trying not to distract from notes, trying to keep it all here at the same time.
And what the agent community can learn. I mean, if you heard Jenny from the digital, if we go break it down to the digital marketing expectations that agents have is, she went back to that ROI, but who are you in real life? What are you putting out to the world? And, like, let's call them out on their BS when they're not being authentic and they're not being out there in the community and they're expecting these miracles. How dare we think that, right? And Jenny, I love how she can check you in the most, in
gentle way,
right? And be like, hey, babe, you're not doing this. And I want to go back to something. She's celebrating a year back on our team, and we've had the pleasure of working together in many different capacities. At one point, as when I was just starting, where she was looking to make a change, I was like, well, I can give you a job here while you're, relocating here. Like, we'll figure it out. Then she went and got another job that was aligned with her that could really help her grow, because I wasn't the leader for her at the time. I was just a connector at the time. Right. And I realized that And I had these dreams and aspirations, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't showing up as the best leader, as the best version of myself, and I always had these dreams and aspirations to have people like that in my world, but I wasn't ready for it. And then, but God was so, I feel so blessed to have had her in my life in every phase of my growth. So she saw me putting in the work as a leader, putting in the work in my personal life, putting in the work and just in general. And I remember when we had the opportunity to work together at the time, I still wasn't the right leader. And I, wasn't necessarily, maybe my heart was in the right place, but, I just didn't have the proper foundation of leadership around. And she knew, I think it was so good for us to just be honest with ourselves and say, if something doesn't feel right, or if it's heavy, or if it's in that moment, not aligned, you could have mature conversations and say, you know what, I got to go pursue my passion, my purpose, my life calling and journey. And I remember when I had the courage to call her back last year, I was like, girl, like, this is our time. We've always done things together, right? Here and there. She's always been part of our world. And never did I feel like I was alone with, when I had her in my corner as one of my best friends, right? Advisor, life advisor, coach in so many ways. But there was just something that I remember calling Eric and I said, we can't not have her. I was like, we have to have her. I was like, and he's like, I said, we got the ops part down. That was the big foundation for us that we were missing. Standards, accountability. We got the accounts. I sold tickets. I got people to believe that we could do this, right? We got the infrastructure, said, but we're missing a part of it. I said, I can't build this alone. It's this culture piece. And we were working on a redesign project, and Jenny came in, whipped it up. And because she knows our essence of our heart and who we are to the core, that it was easy for her. I was like, and when I saw that, we were on a meeting, and I said, all right, guys, look, there's no questions asked here. Like, we need her, and we have an amazing leader in our organization, Ella, which you've had the pleasure of working with, Jeff. At the time, Ella had just come into our organization, and she was doing the best she could with my crazy ideas, still getting to know each other. Really, during the pandemic, things were crazy. But there was something that Jenny had lived with me for so many years. She had seen the iterations of the FIG team, of Veronica Figueroa and her, journey of growth. And she just knew me to the core. And I said, Jenny, I can't lead her to greatness. I can't lead those amazing, people that we have working for us, the video team, the marketing team, and some other things. I said, I've got to keep my eye over here. But I know that if they have the right culture leader and the right, marketing designer, heart-centered leader that can really take our vision to the next level, we can not only blow this up, but you can make an impact on their lives and show them what great leadership looks like for that department. And next thing you know, it's like pouring over into the team. And Ella's now like just amazing. And, well, she was already
rock star.
Rock star. Then, Rich is running the creative department, and, Talisa. But it was funny because I said, Jenny, like, this is your team. Like, babe, I need you to lead them, right? I knew I wasn't the leader for them. And I knew also at one time I wasn't the best leader. And I had to work on my leadership so that I could create the culture that I truly felt was lived within me, but I was struggling with it. And Jenny, I'm glad that you said yes, right? And here we are later. I'm not here in person with you, but I'm obviously celebrating through them. But it's really cool because we just had a conversation yesterday when I flew into town for a layover, and I'm like in the office recording content. I said, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what we're doing, and the next iteration as to what we're building, because it finally clicked, the culture, the leadership. But sometimes as leaders, we have to recognize that we're not the right leader for that person, or we're not the person that really can move people. And for a while, Jenny gave me permission to explore where my growth needed to be. And she was my biggest, she didn't judge me because I wasn't the best leader 10 years ago. She allowed me to grow. And when you have great people in your life, like a Jenny Berger, you strive to really grow. And I did that with not only Eric, and I have many great leaders, Harold, Chase, Isis, are you going to meet them all? Last year when I made some really important decisions in my personal life, it was because I said, I want to be a better leader for them. I want to be a better leader. So culture marketing is not just Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just the image, it's not just the graphics, it's the soul work, it's the authenticity, it's the work and leadership, it's how you're showing up for your people. I just need to say that because it's been a journey and it's been probably one of the best blessings that professionally and personally I've experienced. And I know we want to do that with everyone that we come into contact with. That is important to us, is to help them discover that and evolve so that they can become the best version of themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Now I have the honor of, we do group coaching, we coach leaders and teams around the nation and Canada, and we help them find their culture marketer, their that it's that leadership role again. One of my biggest things, Jeff, is I use this as an opportunity, again, if we want to say unlearn how we've been doing things, right? You don't have a one marketing person in your team. You have I'm kind of casting that vision to the visionaries now, that this is a whole department that we can scale just with one person, that, you don't want that person in the weeds every day because they're not thinking bigger in strategy anymore.
Right.
You want them to scale their time and their talent by having, and at first, not everyone has that budget where they can have the Ella and the Talisa and the Rich, and the Timmys. You have to use VAs, we have to get smart and use the right systems and the right accountability measures so that these opportunities and these projects get executed, right? Because Veronica is better, faster, stronger. How do we get this done? Right. Yep. So when I have my team meetings, I'm like, all right, we're already thinking bigger picture always, instead of just thinking about the details that can happen. Because when you're creative, you have analysis paralysis, right? You can stare at your computer all day on the one project.
That's right.
So I really help them kind of get out of that. And now I get to coach amazing team leaders on the fact that no, this person is not going to do everything, because if you think that, it's going to fail miserably and you're going to be very unhappy with the results, So it's really cool place that I'm at now, where I get to, Veronica pushes people to the front of the room. She pushes them to open up and share their gifts. And I think I've been doing this for so long, and she's really, really helped me just kind of get out of my comfort zone and start teaching people. And, it's been awesome.
That's great. That's amazing. I mean, I've probably come across 5 or 6 different people in the last few weeks when the initial part of their conversation was about, I'm still thinking about doing this, or I'm still thinking about doing that, and I kept hearing the word, I'm still thinking. I'm like, you know what, if we don't stop thinking and start doing, someone else is doing it quicker, faster, bigger, and you're just getting left behind. That's, you got people that are just doing versus people who are still thinking. And
yes,
it's a really tough, maybe because of what's going on in the world right now, but we have to get people to stop thinking and start executing bigger on a bigger scale.
Taking action.
For me, one of the things that I think I drive my team crazy is that I want to do a lot, right? So then, I'm the one that I'm like, it's okay if it's not perfect, as long as we'll evolve, right?
And I just get started. Just go.
Listening, I'm not perfect. I'm not the holy grail, but I will say action is probably what has taught us the most. We've taken action, and then we come back and say, what did we learn about it? And we're not perfect. Jenny and I can talk and we'll be like, where are we missing the mark? What are the things we need to scratch? What are the things? And we're in that phase right now. There's certain things she's like, I need you focused here, Veronica. I need you to eliminate all of these other distractions. Or she's like, I need to see this evolve, right? We'll say, okay, we did it. Now, how do we want to make it better? And one of the things with Jenny is, some people do things just to do it, right? Just to get it off of their to-do list. We wanted to make sure it made an impact. And one thing with Jenny is she's like, was it remarkable? Was it remarkable? Did people talk about it? Did they remember it? Did they feel it? Because that's also aligned with the things that I am about. Is it remarkable? Did we leave an did we leave those people thinking at night, like, oh my God, I have to be a part of this, whether it's our team, whether it's our coaching, whether it's, wanting to be a part of our world, whether it's to just want to be friends,
Yep.
And that's like, so maybe the first time you do it, it wasn't as remarkable as you wanted, but did you go back and assess and say, what could I have done differently? Like to the point, team leaders or agents or anybody who's listening, like calling us out on our BS, just like, what can make the difference of it being remarkable or not? We've gotten so busy where she's like, hey, I get these people in here. Teams, agents are here. We make it pretty and all that. The leaders need to be on time. They need to show up. Like, how dare us disrespect, like even that aspect of the business? Like, we're not special. Like, the remarkable aspect of it is little details, right? The little details of high energy, showing up on time, greeting everyone, being present, shaking hands, kissing babies, being a part of the overall remarkable experience, right? Not just the fireworks, right? Who cares if the fireworks, some of the fireworks are really just the real fireworks that can happen is you being present.
Yeah,
exactly.
And connected to people. So like, that's pretty cool what we've learned along the way. But there's the people who just do it just to get it off the to-do list and just say, I did it just to do it. And there's the ones like us that we do it. We assess, we learn, what can we have done better? How do we evolve? And next time we're going to do it just a little bit better, better to make it much more a remarkable experience.
Yeah, remarkable is one of my favorite words. I think the first time that I started using it, Rich was like, oh God, Jenny. Rich is my husband. He's like, Jenny, that's like so extra to say remarkable, and he started laughing. And I'm like, no, truly, it's like remarkable means that people make a remark about it, right? It's just very literal word. So, every event that we do, everything. And I give kudos to Veronica for always being open to feedback. That's what makes her a fearless leader. Jeff, number 2 thing that I give her kudos for is that she does not expect perfection and she lets us make a lot of mistakes. So that empowers any leaders that you have in your organization to take action, because the people that are overthinking are the ones that are not taking action, right? But she gives us permission to fail. And I think that is the number 1 thing that makes it a very safe space. And we put that through across to culture everywhere in the company, right? Everybody's allowed to fail. And we're here to help each other bounce back and be resilient and, bring that forward. So bring that forward.
Yeah, I think giving permission is huge because they won't do anything. It'll be inaction. They're afraid to make decisions because of, if I fail, this will happen. And they don't make those decisions, which means they just get stuck in their little box and they don't do anything forward.
Correct.
Yeah. And there's 2 types of people, you've got the ones who maybe, and I don't want to call it fail, right? They learned a lesson or they were able to like, kind of like, sometimes we get our teeth kicked in. We're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Right. And I'm like, but they take personal responsibility and they feel like if it's theirs, like they like, I've had experiences, like Harold's been with us for 13 years now. I remember he tells a story of when we were in the REO account and like we had almost $9,000 that we were going to lose. He said he stayed in the car for like an hour thinking how he was going to talk to me and tell me. And I was like, he comes in and he's nervous. And I'm like, and I still believe in the same type of leadership as I did then when it comes to that. I was like, okay, like, we're going to fix this. We're in this together. Like, what did we learn? Like, how do we avoid this from happening next time? And, he was like, I felt like it was like my own company. And he runs it like if it's his own company. He's like, it hurt my core, and he never makes an excuse. It's more like, what do I need to do to make sure this never happens? Or what, oh my gosh, like I missed this. But don't worry, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna and what I love about them is that that's the conversations we have. I'm like, all right, so they know my signature frustration, the way I get when I'm a little frustrated. I'm like, okay,
deep breath,
and they're like, we just don't want to see her do that. I'm like, it's okay, guys. I'm just processing.
They want to see me bring it down.
I'm like, I need to think. I'm like, give me a second. Okay.
The deep breath work.
So that's the thing with them is they're like, oh boy, here comes the breath. And I'm like, and I won't say anything, but just that, because they care so much, they're like, okay, she needs to go into thinking mode. So I've now empowered them for them to think. And Jenny's so funny. She'll say, let's channel in our inner Veronica. What would she
Put on your Veronica goggles,
Yeah.
please.
Well, I mean, the best way too is if you
What would she like to see?
just say to them, like, listen, why don't you guys take a few minutes and come back to me with a few solutions that you think will make it better? Come back with your solutions.
Yeah.
I'll breathe. Come back with some solutions. Let them be part of that solution too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They are all like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't be where we're at. Like we reimagine this future together. I mean, no pun intended. We're on Relaunch Live today, right? We're talking about rethink, reimagine, and being re-inspired, which Jenny, you're doing a great job of that. We reimagined this, and now we run the #1 team at EXP in the world. We did this together. We run a large organization that has 2,000 plus people, partners across the country, now opening up globes. And, we did this together. We reimagined all this stuff together, but it took different phases of our leadership to finally get there where, we said, well, what does that look like? And they would say, all right, Veronica, you're out of production. You're out of leadership in this department. Get out of the way. And I was like, it's like the agent who leaves, who goes from being the agent who works with buyers and says, I'm solely going to work on listings, and then hires their first listing partner to take over there. It was no different than that same feeling. I'm like, wait, you guys don't need me to run that? They're like, no, we're good. We need you to go build this. But like, it's crazy how we've evolved. We've had different phases of our leadership and our vision, but we've reimagined it together. And now, I think we had a conversation last week. We're like, all right, girl, you are, you're a leader. You're going to impact so many people's lives. I was like, your work on the team has been remarkable. It's been amazing. Next journey is, where are we going to next? What are we going to do next? Like, they gave me permission to dream. And then I come back, and I'm like, hey, what about your guys' dreams? Let's get you guys to dream bigger. So now we're on that next phase because I trust them all. Like they've been amazing partners. So
I'm excited.
Amazing. So, I mean, we're kind of at our time frame, and I could probably talk another full hour or two with questions I have brewing about culture and culture marketing. That is a huge win of a nugget for me today, is culture marketing. So maybe we'll have to dive deeper into that another day as a separate topic. But you checked every box today of rethinking, reimagining, every box. And then so I've been re-inspired today myself in the last 35 minutes. So
well, hey, before we, I want you guys to walk away with nuggets. I know Jeff is always about nuggets. Jenny has also created a way for marketers to be organized. I call her our Trello queen. Jenny, what they can go to Jenny B, what's the coaching platform so they can download your Trello and to learn a little bit more how you keep your marketers organized and your team organized. I think that would be a nice way that we could give to the people listening.
So jennycoaching.com, and we'll add it to the chat as well, is basically, Jeff, creatives are not the most linear, organized people, right? We are thinking colorful. We're thinking in pictures, and we need that highest amount of accountability, right? That is love in our industry, and we need it. And so Trello is my love language. I use it. It's a very visual dashboard where I do project management through there. I manage people through there, processes through there. It's beautiful. It's aesthetically pleasing, right? Because we're not into the spreadsheets. We want to see more of a big picture. So Trello is my love language. I use it and I teach others how to use it. Now I'm working on templates to help teams use it and integrate it into their own systems. Some templates will have strategy. They're super beefy inside and help you execute on bigger level projects. So that's my project that I'm working on at night and on the weekends, right? Because I'm like, man, this is such a great way to help people. And one of the biggest nuggets, circling back to culture, Jeff, is because I know you're very interested in the whole culture aspect side of things, is identify in your organization the people that are not the people that don't feel good or don't get energy being with people, right? The people that are systems behind is behind the stage, just making that magic happen, because you have to identify your people person, and you have to make them and leverage them to be your culture glue. These are the people that make your organization feel good, right? Bring those people to the world where they are leading your culture, because the ones that don't get energy from people, they're absolutely magical in their own way, but they don't need to be, completely draining or burning out because we're making them do that job, and
That's right.
I think if you identify that, use tools like the disc profile, use tools like culture index, which we love, which we utilize. That's a whole call in itself that we could do. That's a whole podcast we could do. When you honor people's superpowers, your organization takes flight in a new way. It just does. We saw it happen. And, when people are operating in that superpower, magic happens. It's just inevitable. So I think that's the number one thing to leave for culture today.
That's awesome. So give us that website or domain you were giving us. It was Jenny.
JennyCoaching.com. And you can download a
JennyCoaching.com.
Trello template. Yep. You could download a Trello template that's for culture marketing, what that means to me. You'll see my Instagram there. Follow me on Instagram, DM me if you have any questions. I am doing coaching and helping, again, these team leaders hire a person like me. So I do consulting too,
Awesome.
to hire the right person. And it's been an awesome part of this career, not to help others.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Veronica, any final words from you, my dear? This was awesome.
No, I'm just excited that you guys all got to experience a little bit of the magic behind the scenes here and celebrating Jenny's amazing, remarkable work over the last year. And just excited to see what we do in the world together moving forward. And Jeff, you're a dear friend of mine, so I love connecting other amazing people together. So thanks, guys, for being a part of what I consider probably one of the most special Relaunch Live episodes we've had here today. So
well, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Relaunch Live again, where you get to rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired every single day by amazing people in our great circle and real estate industry. So take us away. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Relaunch Live Podcast, helping you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. Find the show on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next time.